Well, good morning, and I'm here with Ann Kay, who has created the Rock and Read project, and she's going to tell us all about that in a little bit. But this is kind of for me a week of firsts because it was among other things, it was the first time I did a uh, interview without the hat. That was with Mary Jo earlier this week, and now this will be my very first interview. My very Someone sitting right here on the screen suggested I'd been doing written blogs. She said, "Well, why don't you try a blog video?" And I did, and she called herself the guinea pig. So she was my very first video. That's been 5 years or so ago, and that's, I guess, is that a first? I don't know how to make that out. Okay, but it, the point here is that we're about to do that. Uh, Anne is just amazing. Okay, she is one of the. My readers know that I really support the idea of using both music and poetry and um, doing plays and things like that as a way of supporting literacy. And Anne is one of my original sources for all that. She'll talk to you about that, and she'll tell us that the Rock and Read project has gone through a number of iterations. Uh, if Anne were to take her whole time, if Anne talked about that the whole time, we'd have no time left to talk about the current project. So she's going to give us a real tiny view of that. But I have done all the talking, and that's not good. So here we go. We're about to change my view and say, Anne, it's all you. Take it away. Tell us about you and your project.
Oh, Sam, it's great to see you again. Ann Kay, Rock and Read Project. Rock and Read Project started 11 years ago. And right now, it has gone through iterations. My background is a music teacher, and I taught music teachers a Hungarian approach, starting in the mid 80s and on. And in the mid 2000s, I realized that children are not making music. They're not singing, they're not making music, and it really concerned me because there are better music teachers out there, I think, now, but I shifted to instructing classroom teachers. Want to teach reading and math? Try singing with Minneapolis Public Schools. So 11 years ago, we started Rock and Read Project, and even though I had been an instructor of music teachers and associate director of graduate music education at University of St. Thomas, I've always been focused on and curious about what's best for children. And so that's, anyway, we started Rock and Read Project, and our mission now is helping families, educators, and organizations use singing and basic music skills to develop young brains for reading. We've got some resources, materials, we do trainings, whatever. And we can go through that. We have, the website looks different now, and way back, we had 600,000 from the legislature, and we did a project for the state. And we helped 2,500 children with an intervention. It was a karaoke-style singing thing. But we went away from that in 2021. So for the last 4 years, we've been refocused on early childhood and how the brain develops for reading.
Okay, so would you like me to
Yes,
bring the website up?
I would love that, Sam.
Okay, here
That's
we go.
great.
Here's a live view going live of the website. Here we go. And you just tell me what to do, and
Okay,
it's
so
all you.
sing. That's just one of our favorite slogans right now is sing today, read forever. Most people don't realize that singing has anything to do with reading. Singing and music. So when we talk about children learning language, all children are able to learn language. They've got everything neurologically they need, but they need to hear people talking and they need to talk. But before they babble, they do something I call warble. And that's like early singing. It precedes talking. And so music making is not a special gift or talent. Talking is not a special gift or talent, but it has to be developed, right? So we're all about singing and basic music skills. And we're basing all of our work on research about auditory processing. So what the latest, greatest brain research says in the last 10 or so years People don't really know about it, so we're trying to communicate
Okay,
this.
I'm here. I'm on
And
the
it's on
drop down.
brain research.
Okay,
Sure.
so
The
I'm on the
first
drop
link.
down
Yeah,
research, and there we are.
brain research. So we're first trying to communicate this research to everybody. Educators need to know this, but parents need to know it. If parents knew this, they would do different things with their kids. The quick takeaways are that brains are better at processing and remembering sounds. If the better you are at auditory processing and auditory memory, the better you are at reading. Just think about it. A blind person can learn to read very well. It's not sight, it's sound and touch for them, braille. And children who are deaf and hard of hearing often have a very difficult time learning to read. They have to learn to read in a different way, right? So, but they can, but it's a different part of the brain. So, singing and basic music skills help develop sound processing and memory. Basic music skills, what are those? Well, if a child can't keep a steady beat, they are likely to struggle with reading. And keeping a steady beat is highly correlated. It's not, I'm not calling it a causal thing, but if parents knew that their children need to learn to keep a steady beat, pat, 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 with two hands on the lap, they would do it. This slide here is from Dr. Nina Krause's lab at Northwestern University, where there's the auditory neuroscience lab, and they can predict a 3-year-old is going to struggle with reading by the way that child processes sound. So there's links on this page to some studies, but if you want more, on the bottom there's a 10-page research bibliography that I keep current, mostly studies that have been done in the last 10, 15 years about the brain and its processes. And there it is, the research bibliography,
Yeah,
available to anyone.
it looks like it's in a PDF
It
downloadable
is.
form. So,
It is.
uh, and
Yep.
so, and for anyone that was wondering, is what you said just a minute ago, research based. All they have to do is look through this bibliography and look at that,
And those
just
are
page
studies
after
about,
page.
yes, brain develop. Those are current studies about, and some historical studies about the effects of music making on brain development and subsequent achievement. And so most of that is actually, most of the studies are having to do with reading, language development and reading. Um, there are certainly studies about math, but we're at Rock and Read Project, we're about reading.
Okay,
So
so
that's it.
I'm going to go to a gallery view, and in
Okay.
just a minute, I'm going to completely turn it over to you.
All
But
right.
for anyone, if for anyone who's wondering, we have now established your credibility. We have now established that what you're saying is all research based.
Yep.
The fact that you had that large grant and now you're doing other things and you're focusing in on good things for parents to do, and there's links to that. So for my readers, there will be a link to the main blog or a main your main page, and there
Yep.
will be links to those other two things as well. Okay, so at this point, it's time for me to shut up. Eh, Be quiet, Bomarito. And that's really hard. Okay, but I'm about to turn it over to you as the speaker, and from this point forward, until you say we're done, uh, 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 or that's the
You
last
could
point.
always interrupt me.
Yeah. Oh, you know I will.
I know.
Uh,
Okay.
okay.
Ah.
So here we go. It's all you. Take it away. Tell us all about Rock and Read now.
So I know, Sam, that most of your audience is teaching reading in elementary school. So they might tune out a little bit, but if children start kindergarten not having developed that auditory processing and auditory memory, it often looks like they don't speak in full sentences, or they don't remember the letter sounds after they've practiced them. The next day they don't remember them. That's what it exhibits as. Like, as a kindergarten teacher, usually within a couple weeks can say, uh-oh, I know these kids are going to struggle with reading. And so what we're focusing on is musically fit by age 5. We want to have all the kindergartners start with all of that brain development ready to roll, no matter how you're going to teach reading. So we want to prepare brains to learn to read. And so we just published a song a day brain prep for pre-readers. That's also on the website, and but it's published by Ventris Learning, who also publishes the UFly K2 reading curriculum. So Ventris Learning decided that they didn't have anything like this. It is unique in the country. No one has created a curriculum of 50 short lessons that develop the brain's auditory processing, auditory memory, phonological awareness. You know, people talk about, oh, we need to work on phonological awareness. You know, that's optimal time is 3 to 6 months for that development. So if they start kindergarten and that hasn't been developed well, it's late. That's a late brain. But that's what our song a day is for pre-K and K. And you could kind of think of it as an intervention, because hopefully this development happens between prenatal and age 3.
Okay, well, and I'm sure that my
Yes,
early childhood teachers' ears perked up there
yeah.
about what some of the things they're doing, and then Seidenberg had some things to say about uh, phonological awareness that we'll talk
Hmm.
about another day. But the yeah, there's only so much time,
I
and
do read Seidenberg.
I'm
Yep.
burning up your time here. So, but for my preschool teachers especially, this is something that's worthwhile. Okay.
It's yes, it was a labor of love, and it was piloted on the website. You'll also see the evidence. We had pre-K teachers pilot it and kindergarten teachers pilot it. We hired a data analyst, Wilder Research, and they found that after the 50 short lessons, which take 50 days if you did it every day, you know, the idea that children are doing this every day, singing and developing basic music skills. And there was statistically significant improvement in music skills after the 50 lessons. They go lesson number 1 and then lesson number 2. They're all in order because you got to practice and build these skills. Just like a child learns to walk and then run and then jump, and then hopping comes after jumping. There's a taxonomy of physical development. There's also a taxonomy of musical development. And the first thing is steady beat, padding the beat, the underlying pulse, boom, boom, that they've actually been hearing for 9 months in the womb, right? They need to keep the beat. Children need to keep the beat. And kindergarten, first grade teachers can work that into chanting and singing, reading poems while they pat the steady beat. Just add the pad in.
Just a
Yeah,
quick practical question.
yes,
On average, how long do each of these lessons take? Are we talking
10 to
5 minutes,
15 minutes.
10 to 15 minutes? Okay, that's all I
So
wanted to
a
know.
friend of mine is a reading instructor, a reading master's in reading and specialist. She started as an elementary teacher. She's now been a reading specialist for a number of years. She convinced the kindergarten teachers up at the corner elementary school that she could come in twice a week and teach a song a day lessons. And she just is like, oh my gosh, this is so fun. And the kids are 100% in, because singing and music making is natural and fun, and it actually activates the kinesthetic part of our brain. So they're moving. I have a video of her doing batte chocolate, so it's just the cutest thing. Anyway, what we have learned is that music skills can be developed in any language, in any culture. This is not cultural dependent, and it's not curriculum dependent. Although a song a day is all English, Anglo-American, and African-American materials that were written in English, because we're working on learning English. If I spoke Spanish well, I could make a whole curriculum of Spanish songs and do the same thing. These are special skills. So what's the next one? Clapping the rhythm of the words as we speak them, but through song. Happy birthday. So a child goes, happy. Stop. Uh-oh, you missed a sound. You missed a syllable. Happy birthday to you. You have to be able to clap every syllable coming out of the mouth. That is these are all correlated with reading achievement. The next one is, you can download a pitch pipe, a metronome, tick, tick, tick on the phone for free, and have all your students pat the beat. Now we've got the new tick, 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 tick. And then you can download a free pitch pipe. So you blow the pitch pipe. I have a real one. You know, who can match? And the kids go, ooh, 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 ooh. Yeah. So here's the pitch. Ooh. And finally, Jamal goes, ooh. We go, ah, match Jamal. And within days, children can match pitch. So matching pitch. And so the research is the discrimination of pitch, high or lower, is highly correlated with reading comprehension. So I'm like, okay, that's not a hard thing to develop, but you have to go about it. And then singing in tune. There's not a lot of data about singing in tune, but pitch, being able to differentiate pitches is there is work, there is research about that, and reading comprehension. So that is musically fit by age 5. Imagine all these kindergartners walking in with auditory processing really ready. So so we had a grant from St. Louis Park, who has a summer reading festival that lasts a whole week long. And I got a grant. Rock and Read got a grant for $10,000, and we had music making sessions one afternoon for families of young children. And so the whole families came. We had about 300 people total that came through. And I had a group in English and Swedish, a group in Spanish, singing in Spanish, and a gentleman singing in Somali. We have the largest Somali population, 80,000 here in Minnesota. And oh my gosh, actually my grandchildren were there, and the Somali gentleman was their favorite. But what we're working on is keeping the beat and singing in Somali, right? So this is something that can be developed by all ages in all languages. It's what it does for the brain in auditory processing, auditory memory. We also developed 300, we made 300 music kits. So the music kits. I should have had props. Here's a song a day, the curriculum, and here's the music kits, which we are not marketing. I made 300. 150 got passed out that day. There were little instruments in it, but the cards are free online, and they're translated. So it says sing, canta, hista, sing, and then it's translated how to sing with kids in English, Spanish, and Somali. And then why sing? And then how to match a pitch. And all of that also is free on our website. And so those music kits went to the bilingual story hour at the library. 50 of them went there. And then 50 went to Way to Grow, which is an organization that goes to home educators. So they're actually encouraging families to sing. And I have a dear story about a Somali family who's now singing Somali lullabies. And just every night they're singing Somali lullabies. Wow.
Okay. Again, a quick interruption and a favor to ask.
Yes.
We will definitely put a special link into the free cards.
Yeah.
Did I say free? Yeah, I said free. You said free. Okay, free. Okay.
As much as we can. We're a nonprofit,
Right. Okay. And but it would be very handy if you could get one of your kits and just make a picture of everything in the kit. So perhaps they can read. Okay.
It is there, and all the cards. The only other things that were in there were a magnet that says "Rock and Read, Sing Today, Read Forever," and then a calendar that went on the fridge, and that with the magnet held the calendar, and you're supposed to X off any day that you sang or danced or whatever with kids.
Okay.
So just the idea that this is a natural thing that we can do in the car or anywhere. It's, but I mean, really, if you want children to get, the whole 30 million words, okay, it's the fastest way to get vocabulary. Songs are stories with pitch and rhythm. You're singing a story, it means something in context, and those words are going to be stored in many ways in the brain. Fastest way to get vocabulary. And then our last project, our next project is a Science of Music and Reading Summit. Okay, lots of science of reading going on. Science of reading. Nobody's held a Science of Music and Reading Summit. So we are going to go for that I'm hopefully September of 2026. Everyone is invited. I've got partners that we're working on right now to get a bunch of partners on that. I'd love to have hundreds of people here there to hear the research and then to work in affinity groups like the politicians over here. What policies could we pass? You know, the researchers over here, the pre-K teachers, and charge them with actually new practices and policies based on this science of reading. I call it the neuroscience of reading, what's actually happening in the brain. And then,
Okay.
yeah,
Since you've said that, one more small interruption here.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
uh, we need to make a date to do another interview once you're ready to launch that.
Okay,
An interview around that project. So you're on put that on your long-term calendar that you're going to ask me to do another interview
I
so
would
that we
love
can
that.
make the world aware that that's coming up. So that sounds like an exciting thing. And take it back over.
Well,
So,
the only thing I have to say is that 60 years ago, 65 years ago, maybe, we did not know that in this country, if you ask people, is exercise good for your health and well-being? They'd go, well, I'm not really, I don't really, no, I'm not a good athlete. I guess that, exercise would be for athletes. That's what they would say. If you saw somebody running down the street right now, I'm like, oh, I might think it's an emergency. No one jogged. We had a complete transformation of the American public because JFK, actually under Eisenhower, they established the Presidential Council on Youth Fitness. And under JFK, that council launched the U.S. Physical Fitness Program. It went to all the schools and it had an adult thing too. They were worried that the Americans were soft because we were in the Cold War. We thought we were going to go to war. And they thought, uh-oh, Americans aren't exercising. Today, everybody knows exercise is good for my health. I should be moving, whether we move or not. But we know the science, and we can take action if we choose to take action. We do not know that about music. So I'm launching, this is what we want to do. Rock and Read wants to launch a musical fitness movement. We have emotional fitness, we have physical fitness, we have academic fitness, whatever you want to, but musical fitness. Every child musically fit by age 5. And all people can learn to sing in tune, even if they don't now, they can. They can learn to sing in tune. People say, oh, I didn't get that special gift or talent. That is a myth, that is a fallacy. The brain can be trained, even lifelong. It's just harder as we get older.
okay. Well, wow, this has been delightful. Okay. I'm sure I've got a lot of excited teachers out there about what you've said. This is the point in the interview where I usually say, uh, if you can tell I'm kind of wrapping things up here,
Yep.
but before I do, if you've already hit all your major points, we'll
Mm-hmm.
just go on to you know what in just a second. But if I haven't let you hit all your major points, if there's something that's like, Mama Rita, how could you not let me say that? Uh, that's what I'm after right now. So, any final thoughts here?
No, I've just urged people to look at the website and then try to figure out how you could do that during the third grade classroom day. If your children are not, if you have struggling readers, oh, well, perhaps it is their early brain development that needs to be developed, that didn't get developed. So,
Okay. Well, that all said, you know what comes last,
yeah.
because you did the very first interview, so you know what's probably helped me invent this. So it's the and you well, first of all, we have to change the view so that we're back in gallery, and we have to do the Zoom wave goodbye. Bye, everybody, and
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much, Sam. Thanks
Okay,
for
and
all your work. I'm honored to be on. Thank
okay, well,
you.
I'm honored to have you, and I want to all my readers. I sure hope you visit her website and get to know about some of the ideas.